and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours.
It's going to be a massive amount of contrast here for a presidency like what we're going to see out of Trump and versus what we've had out of Biden.
All right, here we go. Donald Trump is officially your new U.S. president. Now, in this video, you will be witnessing the meltdowns from CNN, still trying to convince the American public that Joe Biden was a great president, and a lot of other meltdowns too. Now, before we start this video, please like the video. It helps out so much, and others get to witness the meltdowns. Now, this first clip is about Joe Biden pardoning his family members.
His whole family? The brother, the whole deal was pardoned. Can you imagine that? While I was making my speech, did everybody hear my speech? Did you like my speech?
Donald Trump is not lying when he says, out of nowhere, Joe Biden decided to pardon members of his family. Again, nobody knows why. There's a lot of speculation out there. Maybe down the road we might find something out, but it happened. Now, what else happened was CNN meltdowns, trying to make Joe Biden look great and Donald Trump look terrible.
Kari, your party just engaged in the biggest cover-up in modern American political history on Joe Biden. It's all coming out. We all now know that every Democrat knew it, and you and everybody else came on TV and lied about this man's condition. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Well, the Biden cover-up is the worst thing we've seen in this country in your or my lifetime.
First of all,
and political misinformation.
That is hyperbolic. And
it is not.
It's not only hyperbolic, but it's actually incorrect.
Real quick, the response you are about to hear is the classic response we have been hearing time and time again. Joe Biden was fine, or I didn't know Joe Biden was not doing good. I don't know him in person, when we've all been seeing it on television live in front of our faces. And then Joe Biden, towards the end of his presidency, says, I was totally fine. I could have actually beaten Donald Trump. I would have done better than Kamala Harris.
And yes, I mean, I wish I hadn't been around the president. I wish I would have known that he was not in the condition that he was.
Do you not have a television and eyes and ears?
First of all, I didn't see it until the debate.
We work on TV. He's on TV all the time.
But you also just want to sit here and say that is the biggest whatever of misinformation we've seen, the biggest cover-up, the most hyperbolic and sensationalized incident that we've had in American political history in you and ours generation or lifetime.
Okay, I will get back to other CNN clips, but first I need to play this clip for you guys. It's Rachel Maddow. Here's what she had to say about this event, because we know how much she loves Donald Trump.
Sign dozens of executive orders and executive actions about energy and the border and discriminating against 100 people and making it easier to fire federal workers and stopping the ban on TikTok, even though that ban is actually law and executive orders can't supersede the law. Former House Speaker John.
I really think we are getting some foreshadowing going on here as far as what the playbook is going to be for MSNBC, CNN, and other left-leaning news outlets who despise Donald Trump. I think this is going to be like 2016, where every single day and nearly every single headline, it's going to be hate on Donald Trump and everything he's ever done. Now, here's one of the funniest things that happened during the entire event. Here is Hulk Hogan pulling a Hulkamania.
Donald Trump lifted the veil off America. Hold on, Jess.
All right, here we go.
More border. Lower gas prices.
Yes.
We got real American beer in the house. We got real American beer. Trumpomania, brother. We've got Trumpomania running this country, brother. One nation under God. Jesse Waters, this is your world, brother.
Yeah, baby.
Hulk Hogan has been all over the media. Now, I said Hulkamania, I meant to say Trumpomania. That seems to be Hulk Hogan's new catchphrase. Now, this next clip is classic CNN trying to call Donald Trump and his rich friends an oligarchy, talking about Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and others.
And for people who don't know what an oligarchy is it is the idea of wealthy individuals, often business owners, in the private sector who essentially have control over the government as a result of their wealth. And that's what the president was warning of. I just want to throw out another way of looking at this, and the way that I think people on the right are looking at this, as a way of Trump celebrating American ingenuity, entrepreneurship, technological dominance, because the truth is, when it comes to tech companies in the world, American companies are the ones that are dominating the industry.
I'm giving you a warning now. We are going to hear about oligarchies for a while now, specifically Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, because the left-leaning news outlets, mainstream media, cannot stand the fact that Donald Trump is so good and cool with the people who run social media for the world. In fact, CNN talks about this some more. But again, I'm giving you the warning, we are going to hear the words oligarchy for a while now.
So we see Mark Zuckerberg on the left there with the curly hair, CEO of Meta. Tim Cook, his face is blocked, but he has the white hair, CEO of Apple. Jeff Bezos on the right there, the bald gentleman looking to his right, CEO of Amazon. The gentleman behind Mark Zuckerberg is Sundar Pichai. He's the CEO of Google. And Anderson, between those four people, plus Elon Musk from Twitter or X, those five people that I just mentioned, the four in the photograph and also Elon Musk, control so much of the information that we receive. So much is in their hands when it comes to ascertaining, monitoring, or refusing to monitor what is real, what is not real. And we're about to enter an era of deep fakes.
I have no idea when it became common practice for news anchors to act like they own billion-dollar tech companies and trying to convince the American public that a news anchor knows how to run these tech companies and how these other billionaires should be running their tech companies. It's such a weird thing to be doing during Trump's inauguration. Anyway, enjoy this next clip.
I think the grave difference that Donald Trump has in terms of putting wind at his sails between now and 2016 is the positioning of conservatives in different elements of controlling the free flow of information in this country. And what I mean by that is, if you listen to Eric Erickson or many others, they've complained, and even my friend Scott here have complained about the Washington Post or the LA Times. They've complained about censoring on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And even if you give them the benefit of that doubt and say that's true, we can disagree or whatever, now the facts are, not only do they have a Fox News juggernaut behind them, but they also have all the Sinclair local news stations.
I'm actually going to agree with this news anchor. I do think there are times where conservatives and Republicans will over-complain about certain topics with left-leaning news publications to where it delegitimizes the complaint. However, whenever these massive news organizations act like they are faceless, or whenever they retract statements or they use anonymous sources, that's when conservatives and Republicans seem to be complaining about things, and we want accountability. Now there is accountability with apps like X, where you have community notes, and again, I want to point out, even Elon Musk gets called out by his own app whenever he gets something wrong.
They now have talk radio, but they have X, they have Instagram, they're about to have TikTok, they're going to control the flow of information, and so that is going to be an enormous hurdle. They have the Washington Post. The Wall Street Journal is already decently conservative. They have whatever the guy out there at the LA Times and Scott's paper is doing. So, look, they have the control of the flow of information, which is different than 2016. That's going to be intriguing in terms of the way Americans receive what's happening in D.C.
Now, this is a very important topic because, again, this is the foreshadow for what we are going to see within the United States, especially as far as conservative media. Donald Trump, it looks like he controls the independent space as far as social media. He controls a little bit of mainstream, so it's going to be interesting how you see the contrast of a CNN or MSNBC saying that Donald Trump did this is terrible, and then over on X, it's Donald Trump did this is great. However, I think Scott Jennings gives a very interesting answer to all of this, or at least the conservative perspective.
So the difference between the left and the right as it relates to censorship and the free flow of information is this. We're not interested in controlling things for the purpose of pushing narratives. We're interested in the free flow of information for the purpose of defending free speech and allowing people to have full access to everything. The great complaint of conservatives over the years has been that the American people, people worldwide, have had restrictions put on what they were allowed to see, what they were allowed to know, and that narratives were more important than facts. And one of the reasons he won this election, Donald Trump, is because we got out of the narrative business in this country and we got into the information business.
You guys have to look at the full context. Back in 2016, if not earlier, conservatives were getting kicked off of Facebook, off of Instagram, off of other platforms in which now independent media had to be created. You have the Daily Wire, you have the Charlie Kirks, you have the Tim Pools, you have the micro-influencers all coming together. You have big podcasts, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, and others all coming together essentially to support Donald Trump or endorse Donald Trump, and this is how Donald won the election. And it wasn't the narrative space, it was the this is what's going on space, this is the information space, these are the facts, and that is why Donald Trump won.
One of the things he just mentioned, and he's alluded to it 1,000 times, and it seems intent to do it, which is pardoning some of those who have been convicted in connection with January 6th. You were there on January 6th. You were quite disappointed in the president's actions that day. What do you think if he pardons some of these people?
The president has the power to do that. This is the difference.
No question about it, but what do you think?
But this president told the American public why he was campaigning for office. If I am elected president, I will pardon these people.
Now, what do you think?
But compare this to Joe Biden, who said he would never pardon his son, who now, on the very last day, in the last 30 minutes, pardons his entire family.
I find it so bizarre that news anchors will point their fingers at Donald Trump and use a standard towards him as if Joe Biden never did the same thing ever. Again, nobody knew that Joe Biden was going to pardon members of his family, and for news anchors to say, well, Donald Trump is going to pardon people, yeah, but this is not the same, and you'll see why right here.
What do you make of that decision for him to make those pardons and to do it now?
Terrible, terrible. Think about what everybody else had gone through. Why pardon your family? It makes no sense to me. Why pardon January 6th from the idea of the elected officials? All it does is put a cloud over that you did something wrong. These people didn't ask for it, but you must know something that other people do not. And why do you wait to 30 minutes before? Why did you tell the American public you would never pardon your son, and you do it? Now, the difference here is whether you agree or disagree about what President Trump's going to do. He told the American public ahead of time. They put that into consideration whether they vote for him for president.
That is 100% true. One thing I always found so offensive from news networks was as if voters did not know what they were voting for, as if voters were not educated. Everyone knew why we were voting for Donald Trump. We knew about January 6th. We weighed out the facts, as Scott Jennings would say, and people still voted for Donald Trump. Now, if you support Joe Biden and you voted for Joe Biden, there is no way you are seeing what he's doing and you don't feel some kind of way about it. And again, nobody is accusing Joe Biden that he did anything wrong. What he did was totally legal, but we are all asking why 30 minutes before, why during the inauguration, are you making this about yourself? Are you hiding something? Nobody knows. Like, why would you do that, Joe Biden? We all have questions here.
We were talking about disinformation and misinformation, and you accused me and everybody else of a cover-up when you sat here and minimalized January 6th. All I'm saying is, listen,
I'm saying it happened, and
my bad. I didn't mean to touch you, Scott. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
You're doing it again.
Let me tell the viewers some about these.
All right, so I think we have our narratives for Donald Trump as long as he's president. We're going to hear about the oligarchies. We're going to hear about Donald Trump is friends with all these billionaires, and we're definitely going to hear about January 6th. We're going to hear about how Donald Trump is a felon, and we are 100% going to hear about the deportations. On this channel, I really want to focus on that because I think Republicans have questions, Democrats have questions. How is Tom Homan going to pull this off? I have questions, and I'm definitely going to be covering it. So make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, so you guys can see the future videos because we have a lot of videos to make. We have a lot more work to do, and I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching.